Hello, I'm Abby Duke, and this is my video feedback on Magic Johnson's apology. So, the purpose of this assignment was to pick an apology speech and then basically just explain how it qualifies as an apology according to the concepts and theories that we discussed in class. So, this speech is Magic Johnson. He just contracted the HIV virus and he has to retire, and so he has to basically address the public and explain why he's all of the sudden retiring from basketball. So, the first concept that was mentioned in the paper was bolstering. Bolstering happens when the accused wants to connect to the audience using something positive. So in this case, Magic Johnson is a well-known athlete. He's famous. So many people love him. And so he basically uses bolstering by explaining that, he's just a person too. He's just as susceptible to this disease as anyone else. And I think that really helps. We want to know that these famous people that make millions of dollars are just people just like us as well. So I think that really helps his image, and he just explains that you can have a negative opinion about me, or you can just take me as I am because I'm a person too. And that's basically what he says. And so I think that's a good qualification for why this would be an apology speech. The next one would be mortification, that I noticed that he used. Mortification is just where you admit your wrongdoing and you basically apologize for it and you ask for forgiveness. And, he doesn't exactly say, hey, sorry, but he does admit what has happened. And, I get the impression that he, wants us to forgive him and just, he's like, hey, I know I have fans out there that are going to be disappointed, but you know what? I have this disease and I'm going to move on with my life. And, he admits it. He basically apologizes. I mean, he doesn't go straight out and say, hey, I'm sorry, but he admits it, he apologizes. And you kind of assume that, it is implied that he wants the audience to accept him. He's taking responsibility for what has happened. He's not blaming anybody. He's not in denial about it. But, he's taking it as it is. Another concept that I would say he uses for his apology would be transcendence. So, transcendence is kind of where you connect your behavior with a greater meaning. And so I think it could be argued that he uses transcendence because during his address to the public, he says, this isn't just about me. I got this disease, but it's not an individual issue. It's a social issue. It affects everyone. Everyone probably knows someone that this has happened to, or they could know someone in the future that this could happen to. Another thing that I noticed that he used was the image restoration strategy of correction. So correction is where the accused promises to right his wrongs. And so I would say that Magic Johnson uses this strategy because he says, this has happened to me. I have fans out there that are going to be disappointed because they can't watch me play basketball anymore. but I'm going to be a spokesperson for HIV, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make the world aware of the risks. And, I'm basically going to be, a better person. I'm going to make things better in that way. I'm going to correct what has happened in that way. And so, I think that's a great example of correction. And, I liked this speech or this example because it wasn't exactly like he didn't do something wrong per se, but he knew that people out there were going to be disappointed, or they were going to have a certain opinion of him. It wasn't exactly like, hey, I'm sorry, but he did have to address an issue, and that's what I liked about it. But as far as the paper goes, I would just say, it's really important to kind of spell it out for the reader. Pick bolstering and correction and transcendence and things like that. Define what those mean and what they are, and then apply it to the speech and say, Magic Johnson used it in this way and he used it in this way. And that's my only real critique about it is kind of the messages were kind of hidden in there, and you just really want to spell it out for them. So hopefully you get something out of this video. I hope that you liked my written feedback, and thank you so much for letting me read it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.